Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Why a Job Board Can Be an Essential Part of a Trade Association's Success. My name is Ted Dacko, and I'm going to serve as your host for this webinar, and I will be introducing Michael Kling in just a second. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping issues. You are all in listen-only mode to make sure there's no background noise. If you have a question, please ask your question by typing it into the dialog box, which should be located on the right-hand side of your screen. We're going to try to answer all questions at the end of the webinar, and if we don't, we will get back to you individually. Slides will be sent to you, and a recorded version of this webinar should be available within 2 days. During our webinar today, we will be asking some polling questions and would appreciate your attention and participation for those. And then if there's anything that you're interested in or anything that you hear today that you would like to follow up on, we would be happy to do that with you next week. So here's our agenda. Pretty simple agenda. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker in just a second, who's going to provide a brief introduction to TrueJob. We're going to talk about the goals that trade associations have and why a job board is essential to their success. We're going to talk a little bit about the key criteria for a job board that we have found trade associations are interested in. We're going to show you a brief example. We'll then talk about the benefits that can be derived by implementing a job board for the trade association's website, take your questions, and talk about next steps. So let me start by introducing our guest speaker today. Mike Kling is the co-founder of TrueJob. He was trained at MIT and he's responsible for product development and customer support. And Mike is committed to and passionate about matching the right companies with the right candidates. Mike, welcome.
Thanks, Ted.
Mike, let's start off the agenda today by having you tell us a little bit about TrueJob.
Sure. So TrueJob was founded 2 years ago in 2015, and we provide job board software that's built to meet the specific needs of economic development organizations, trade associations like those of you attending today, and chambers of commerce. And what all these have in common is an opportunity to benefit their members by connecting the employers who they serve with job seekers. And we're excited to be here hosting the webinar today.
Thank you very much. So, Mike, tell me a little bit about the goals of trade associations, and I know this will be obviously it'll be a background and something that trade associations know, but tell me what you think the goals are that these organizations have.
Sure. So briefly, as those of you attending already know, trade associations are a broad category of organization. You might call yourselves industry trade groups or business associations, but whatever you call yourself, typically, trade associations are founded and funded by companies in a specific industry. Maybe they have a regional focus, or maybe they're national, but they always exist to support a specific industry. Here, we've listed some of the activities that trade associations participate in, and your organization might participate in some or all of these. And they include outreach functions, educational functions, networking events. But what we're going to focus on today is the opportunity that trade associations have to help their members with recruiting specifically.
So you're going to help them understand how they can attract talent from outside their association to inside their association.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. So tell me, Mike, why a job board? Why does a trade association need a job board?
Well, there's a number of reasons. First, every trade association is interested in improving the perception of their brand. A better brand for your association means that you're going to have an easier time attracting new members. You're going to have an easier time retaining your existing members. And more members is going to give you more revenue in the form of dues, but also more opportunities to collect revenues outside of dues. And part of your approach to improving that brand might include improving your website or increasing traffic to that website. So we're going to be talking about how a job board can help you with all of these.
Now, an association, as you mentioned, also needs very much to focus on providing key metrics back to its funding sponsors, and we're going to be covering that as well.
That's right, as well.
All right, so let's start with a survey question for our audience participants today. Does your organization's website currently have a job board? And if you have career resources but no job board, please answer no. So let's launch that poll and see what our members say. Does your organization have a website currently have a job board? And okay, so I think we've got pretty much everybody. So, oops, Mike, let's go ahead and take a look at what the results were.
Okay, interesting. So in this case, we've got about a 2/3, 1/3 breakdown. 2/3 of you have a job board already, and 1/3 of you don't. And we're going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about going forward is going to help with both of these groups.
Okay, so let's move on. Tell me about the problems these organizations have.
Sure. So what's the problem that a job board is trying to solve? So a couple slides ago, we mentioned some of the problems of organizations like those of you attending today. That's trade associations as well as EDOs, that's economic development organizations. You're looking to increase your membership, looking to increase revenue, but you have limited resources. At the same time, there are employers, and those are typically your members. They're looking to hire the best talent for the positions that they have open. And then the third group in this that you see here is the job seekers. That's job seekers currently in your industry or job seekers that are outside of your industry but looking for opportunities within the industry. And a job board is an opportunity for you to be the connection between those employers and those job seekers. You're the organization that already has the expertise in your industry, and you already have the connections to your members, to the employers, so it really presents a great opportunity.
So Mike, I think the key question is on people's minds. So what's wrong with Indeed? What's wrong with Monster? What's wrong with the generic job board that they might have right now?
Yeah, so like you said, the members, your members right now, they're hiring somehow. They're using these kinds of websites, whether it's Monster or Indeed, or they're using recruiters. So why not just let them keep doing that? Why not just link them to those kinds of sites from your website? Well, there's a number of reasons. First, if you're not part of the process at all, then you're not getting any credit for the success that your members are having in their hiring. Also, these large job websites, they're generic. They have postings across different industries, across locations, and they really care more about having a large quantity of job postings and less about the quality of those job postings. There's not going to be any opportunity for them to focus specifically like you could on the needs or positions relevant to your industry.
And it might actually be that you are sending your members' employees outside your industry as opposed to attracting them inside your industry.
Exactly, which you obviously wouldn't want.
Right.
And finally, and this ties into the other points, but when employers are getting sent out to these other websites, there's no way for you to track that. You don't have any data, any analytics to track their success that they're having with hiring. You're losing out on information, losing out on these kinds of key insights into your industry. And that can be really valuable data for you to use to track new members and retain your existing members.
Before we move on, you're using the word curate. Tell me what you mean by curate certain kinds of jobs. Give me more color on that if you could.
Sure. So curate just means you choosing what's appearing on your job board. So we'll talk about this more again as well, but like I said, a generic job board like Monster and Indeed, they have positions across industries. But if you have a job board on your website and you'd like to only highlight certain types of jobs, maybe you really want it to be focused on high-level positions within your industry, and that's what we mean by curate.
So the people on the phone, they can control both who posts on the job board and specifically what positions get posted on the job board.
Right. Both of those things.
Okay. Very good. So how will the people on the phone or on the webinar know if they're a candidate?
Well, we've listed a few questions here that you can ask yourself to try to figure out if the job board makes sense. So are you happy with the support that you're providing to your members right now? Are you interested in attracting more talent to your industry? Are you concerned about member attrition and losing funding? Are you currently happy with your website, and would more traffic to that website help your organization? And finally, is one of your goals promoting jobs, the kinds of jobs that your member companies are recruiting for? And so if you find yourself answering yes to some of these questions, then you could be a great candidate.
Absolutely. Or in the case of the first one, no. All right. So if I am a trade association, what criteria should I be interested in if I want a high-quality job?
Yeah, so the first couple important things. First, you want to make sure that you look for a hosted solution. So what I mean by that is something that you don't have to install and maintain and update on your own, something that's taken care of for you. Secondly, you want to make sure that you're looking for a solution that's designed with the needs of trade associations in mind. There's a lot of generic job board solutions out there, and they don't have the features, they lack some of these critical features that we're about to talk about that trade associations really need. So let me dive into those. The first one I'll mention is something we touched on already, which is branding. Your organization wants the credit for what's happening on your job board. So you need something that's going to integrate seamlessly into your website. Any communications via email that are happening with the employers that are using your job board need to have your brand, your logo front and center. Next is the curation, and Ted, you mentioned this before as well, but this is you choosing what's appearing on your job board. So as a quick example, one of our customers, Ann Arbor Spark, as an economic development organization in Ann Arbor, they were interested in highlighting specifically tech jobs and knowledge worker jobs in the Ann Arbor community. And so they accept different postings from different employers in the area, but they curate that list, and they only choose to display those types of jobs because that's what they want to highlight. Next, easy to use. You don't want a job board that you set up to be more work for you. As another example, that same organization, Spark, right now the administrative assistant to the president manages the whole job board process, all the approvals that happen, looking at the analytics, and it only takes minutes a week, really.
And I would imagine that that in that same context, you want something that you would be proud of, that would be appealing to technology or advanced kinds of users as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to hire tech workers, you're trying to promote that kind of those kind of jobs or that kind of high-level position, then it's going to be embarrassing if you have a job board that just doesn't look good.
And I've seen that happen in trade associations over and over, where they put up a job board, and then what happens is people complain about the user experience, and it actually has the counter or wrong effect. Thanks.
Yeah. So next on the list here is Pandora-like matching. So if you've ever used Pandora, it's a music service where you listen and you like or dislike different songs, and then you get recommended more relevant songs that you like better over time. So on a job board, when job seekers come to the site, if they can see job postings, like or dislike those postings, and get better recommendations, they're going to get better matches over time, and that's going to make the job seekers happier and the employers happier.
So before you move on, tell me more about that. So what I think I hear you saying is that the job seeker can like and dislike words and things that are in a job posting that will help them identify things that will help them then will give them jobs and promote jobs to them that match those things, and that feedback goes back to the individual employer as well, what people said yes they liked and they didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. So
and then the reverse of that is true. Can the employer do the same thing with the resume?
Right. So just to kind of reiterate that, as the job seekers are on the job board platform and liking or disliking different jobs or job titles, locations, all that information is used to improve recommendations for the job seeker, and also is passed back to those employers so they can learn what those job seekers that you're viewing the jobs are interested in.
Wow, so it's bi-directional Pandora.
Exactly.
Outstanding.
All right, so next on the list is job scraping. So where are these jobs on the job board going to be coming from, especially when you're first launching and you don't have the you don't have a lot of employers that have signed up already. So job scraping is a way that you can pull high-quality job postings directly from company websites so that your job board has something there and is providing a lot of value from the first day that you launch. Next, we have member support. When you add a job board to your website, you don't want to start getting calls from your members that are having technical problems with the job board. So at TrueJob, for example, we provide different assets that includes videos and written documentation so that you can stay focused on what's important.
So you are providing all the training support and that was required so that the trade association itself is not in the direct line of fire from its members on these kinds of questions.
Exactly.
Outstanding.
Next here we have applicant tracking system. So if your association works with smaller companies, this is especially important. This is a tool that gives members the opportunity to accept job applications, track the candidates as they move through the hiring process, and if a small company doesn't have an HR department or doesn't already have a system in place, then this can be especially valuable.
Wow. Okay.
And finally is analytics. So analytics kind of ties everything here together. You need to know how your job board's doing, how it's doing from week to week, month to month. Are you getting more engagement? Are you getting more signups, more job postings? And all this information you can use to help you understand the industry, help you understand how your members are succeeding and finding good hires.
So this is a way to help justify the existence of the job board and the trade association itself, because this is a way where automatically reports will come out that will tell you how many jobs were viewed, how many jobs were actually placed through your trade association. All of those good things are woven into this.
Exactly. And all that data you can export, you can use it whatever way you want to promote your association, attract more members, and etc.
And you can't do this with a Monster or an Indeed or a generic job board. And that's one of the limitations that we have seen with trade associations is they have very generic job board capabilities that do not have some of the features that Mike just covered. All right, so let's go to our next survey question. Which of the following criteria would you find important in a job board? Something that's branded to your association, job curation, as Mike described it, easy to use and maintain, and Pandora-like matching between the job seeker and the employer, and automated member training, support, and all that. And you could list as many of these as you want. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, very good. Let's see what the audience has to say about this. A couple more seconds for submissions to come in. Okay, let's close out the poll, Mike, and let's see what we see. Well, everybody wants everything.
That's what it looks like, and that's not too surprising because, as you said, all of these are really important features for trade associations. Yeah, it looks like 100% of people are interested in that branding and that matching component, and 2/3 of the respondents were interested in that curation, easy to use, and the member support.
Okay, very good. So let's move on in our agenda, and thank you for participating, folks. And Mike, I'm going to ask you if you could to provide an example of what a job board might look like in a trade association, if you could.
Sure. So I'll switch over here to browser window. So what we see here is a mock-up of an association website. So you're a trade association right now. You have a website. It might look something like this. We've included sections for a list of members, maybe the latest news in your industry, information about upcoming events, that type of thing. Now, when you choose to add a job board, If you work with TrueJob, for example, what we'll do is add a new page to your website where you can store that job board. So I'll click on that up here at the top. Great. So this is what it might look like. You have a job portal that has what you'd expect. Here we're using an example of a real estate-focused association. So we have some different open positions in the real estate industry. This is a place where job seekers can browse, they can search for different jobs, and TrueJob has integrated that like and dislike feature here so that those job seekers can get more relevant recommendations over time. Now, how difficult would it be to set something like this up? Well, with TrueJob, it's very easy. If you've ever installed something like Google Analytics, you just paste a single line of code into your website and the job board appears. But if you haven't, that's no problem. We help you out with that too. So that's what the job board would look like on your website and to the job seekers as they're browsing your website. But what would it look like for employers that are signing up and posting jobs? So now I'm going to switch over and show you what the employer dashboard looks like on TrueJob. So this is what employers would see if they sign up and they log into TrueJob to post the job position to your association job board. They can create a new, I'll click on new job posting here. And this presents them with a form which has everything that you'd expect. Employers can enter the job title, the job description, other relevant information about how to apply and where the job's located. Now, once they've done that, this job is going to be submitted and it's going to appear to you as an administrator of your association job board. And you'll be able to see here, I'm going to open up a list of the employers that have signed up, and you have the opportunity to look at those employers. This is where that curation aspect comes in. You have the chance to approve or reject different employers to sign up so that you can highlight what you want to be highlighting on the job board.
Now, this will prevent you from ending up posting jobs from outside your industry or for non-members.
Exactly.
And also help you choose what kinds of jobs you want posted on your particular job board, executive level, or maybe in this particular case, even all the way down to administrative assistants.
Sure. So we're showing a broad range of positions here, but as Ted said, this is your opportunity to curate those positions however you want. So here, the curation piece on TrueJob includes both the employers and the job postings. So this is where you'd see the list of job postings that were submitted and have the opportunity to look at those and curate that list before they appear on your website. And then finally, I just want to highlight the analytics section. So this is a feature of TrueJob, and we talked about how important this is before, but this is the place where you can see all this important data. And this data here is just it's just mocked up for you, but after you've been using the job board for a few weeks or a few months, you can see graphs of how many employers are signing up, how many jobs have been posted, who's viewed those jobs, whether people are actually engaging with those jobs, clicking on or applying to those jobs. And all of this data can be exported, you can save it, you can use it in whatever way is most helpful to you. Learn about your industry or to share with your members and attract new members.
Outstanding. Great. Okay, so let's go back to our agenda. And Mike, I'm going to ask you a question. Tell me what a trade association could expect as results if they implemented a job board. What are the benefits?
Sure. So we've listed some of the key benefits here. First, if you recall that diagram from earlier that highlighted the three constituents, the employers, the job seekers, and your association, a job board on your website is really a win for all three. For you specifically, it's going to help with your brand perception. It's a job board. We've seen job boards be a key source of web traffic for organizations. I'll just mention Ann Arbor Spark again, one of our customers. They get 50% of their web traffic coming to their job board. I'll just emphasize that again. Half of their web traffic goes to their job board, so it's really a big draw and brings more people to learn about their organization. Next, the same way that the job board is going to help you sort of support your members, it's going to help you retain those existing members. all those analytics that you're getting that you saw on the dashboard just a minute ago are going to help you learn about the industry, and you're going to be able to share those and track new members as well. Finally, you're going to be able to recruit talent into the industry with the job board. And if you do choose to charge for job postings, which is something that you could do, then it's an opportunity for you to increase revenue outside of the dues that you're charging to your members.
Most organizations do not necessarily charge for the job board, though, right? And it's not certainly, as you just said, it's optional. It's not a requirement.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it can just be something that you provide to your members.
But if they wanted to then charge for successful placement, you have the ability to make that happen for them.
That's right.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's move to the next survey question. Next survey question. And that's, which of these benefits would be most valuable to you? Improving your brand perception, assisting members with a major challenge that they might have, that's recruiting talent, increasing your web traffic, increasing non-dues revenue, or recruiting talent to the industry. You can choose as many of these as you like. So let's wait a couple of seconds for everybody, audience members, to participate. And let's show the results. Okay. Nobody wants to charge.
Interesting. Okay, well, that does reflect what you were just saying. Looks like everyone's interested in recruiting talent into their industry and increasing web traffic. And then 2/3 of our respondents were interested in improving brand perception and assisting members with the major challenge course recruiting. So,
okay,
very interesting.
Very good. All right. So finally, let's take some questions from our audience today, Mike. And as you would probably expect, the first question and the most common question that we get is, so what's it cost? So how does pricing work, or what's the general thing that you can tell the audience about what to expect in terms of cost if they want to implement this?
Sure. So at TrueJob, we have 3 components to our pricing, and I'll talk about how that looks. So there's an implementation fee, a subscription fee, and then a customization fee. So the implementation fee is upfront charge, and that includes, what that pays for is integrating a job board with your website, getting your brand as part of it, working with you on a promotional plan so that people know about the job board, and that pre-population, that job scraping, so that we have high-quality postings on your job board from day one.
I'm guessing branding is in there as well.
Right, branding. That's kind of tied in with the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that cost on average?
So TrueJob, that starts at $850.
Okay. So it's not tens of thousands of dollars to do this. It's pretty simple.
No.
Okay, great.
Then next is the annual subscription fee, and what that covers is hosting. So as we mentioned, you don't have to host this yourself. This is something that's hosted by TrueJob. Covers all future releases and new features that get added to the job board, and it also covers that support process. So member support, so that you don't have to be kind of the front line if your members should happen to have any kind of challenges using the job board.
So I would guess that how often do you provide updates to the software?
We're always updating it, and it's not something that you need to worry about as your association. We're always working on improvements to the site and adding new features and releases. So.
And I'm guessing that these features and functions are requests from trade association members who have asked for something specific that may not currently be in there.
Exactly.
Sure. All right, great. Thank you. What's the third aspect?
Yeah, the last one is just the customization fee. And that's just something that if there's something that's not part of the system that we built already, then, and it's very important to you, then that's something that you can ask us to build for you, and we would charge you whatever, a customization fee based on the scope of that project.
Okay, very good. So the next question relates to the first one. So if I wanted to implement, what am I looking at? Days, weeks, months? How long does it take to implement this?
It doesn't take a long time. So adding the code to your website, that's a very easy process. Just takes a couple of minutes. Now, as part of the launch process, we work with you on a promotional campaign so that help you reach out to your existing members and have them join onto the job board and post some positions. And so we typically do some kind of a soft launch, and might take a week or so, or a few days to get you up and running completely. And then we usually recommend having the job board up and running for a good amount of time, a couple of months before you kind of evaluate how successful you're being.
And I imagine this is where those assets come in, where your training videos and the things that you have to help your members get going. I'm guessing that that's a very, very important part of this whole process as well.
Exactly, yeah. All that training is part of it.
All right, and then somebody asked, what do we need to do an implementation? In other words, what do you need from the trade association other than perhaps their logo?
Right. So we need that branding information. We work with you to figure out. We kind of have a whole checklist that we go through when we set this up, but we work with you to figure out what would be the best way to promote this job board. What kind of marketing avenues do you have set up already? And then we work with you to figure out what are the relevant companies, either that are your members, that you want to have appearing on that job board. And then we help you pre-populate the job board with those positions, so you have a good job board from the first day you launch. So it's all information that you should have readily available.
Okay. Now, I think you've answered this next question, but I might ask you to repeat it. Somebody typed in, so we don't have a lot of staff, and we don't have a lot of resources to maintain this. Who would maintain this? I think I heard you say that an administrative assistant can do this.
That's right. Yeah. So at one of our current customers, the administrative assistant to the president manages the whole job board, handles all of the accepting and declining of positions, looking at the analytics, kind of tracking the progress, and it's a simple process. It just takes minutes a week.
And then the last question that I see, I remember early on, some people said they already had a job board. Somebody asked, how difficult is it to migrate from our existing job board to TrueJob if we were interested in that? How does that work? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. So that's definitely something we can do. As part of the implementation process, we would pull your existing job postings from your existing job board and bring them over to the new system on TrueJob, so that you're kind of there's no gap there, and you're right where you left off, and now you have a high quality system going forward.
Excellent. Okay. In the interest of time, let's move on. If we didn't get to your question, we will follow up with you independently. You can take some next steps with us if you'd like. You can visit our website at www.truejob.com. A lot of the things that Mike covered are listed on that website. There's a white paper on trade associations and their needs and requirements for a job board. There is some case studies out there that you could look at that will help you understand how other organizations have done this and why they've done this. A recorded version of this webinar will be available on the it's going to be available, and we'll also post it on the website. And if you would like, you can call us or write to us and sign up for a free consultation, and we'll talk to you about your specific needs and what an implementation would look like. So with that, I would like to wish all of our participants a pleasant afternoon, and thank you for joining. And Mike, thanks for such an informative webinar today.
Thanks a lot, Ted.
All right. Well, have a good one, and thank you, everyone. Bye now.